Okay, so I am very nervous. So if I tend to stare at anyone in particular, don't be upset. I just might have to focus on something.
Are you recording? It's okay.
I'm thinking, am I too loud? Is this a good tone? Everything good? Okay. I think I'm just a little too nervous to go from the pictures to my speech. I think I'm going to go through the pictures. There's 8 of them. I'm going to go through them at the end. Just keep my sanity. Okay, here we go. So I struggled a bit with putting my journey to paper as I have another disease that came first, 18 years ago, in fact. I realized my other disease is very much a part of me and part of my journey, and in fact, it led to the diagnosis of acromegaly. So I've decided, and I hope this is okay with you, that before getting into my acromegaly journey, I will spend the next few minutes talking about my other disease. That other disease is multiple sclerosis. I'm going to refer to it as MS. I find it a little bit of a tongue twister. Okay, so I was diagnosed with MS in August of 2000. This, as you can imagine, was a very dark day for my family and myself. I was healthy, I was active, and the diagnosis made me really worry about my future, what was going to happen to me. My parents were extremely worried. It was just a lot of stress at the time. Anyways, and it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, obviously now everybody in this room personally knows someone with MS, but even before me, I'm sure some of you have personally known someone with MS, or know of somebody who has it. And I'm sure the first thing that came to your mind was disability. I know mine did. So I will give you a quick definition of MS. First, there's no cure. The latest stats in Canada are that 1 in 385 people will be diagnosed with MS. That's quite a large number. So MS is not rare, not like acromegaly at all. So MS is an autoimmune disease, which means your body is your worst enemy. It beats up or destroys itself. I have what they call a relapsing remitting MS, which they estimate about 60 to 70% of MS sufferers have. There's many different kinds of MS. This means, this is for relapsing remitting, that we have an attack or a relapse and hopefully regain all our functions again and get back to normal. The relapses are what cause the permanent disability. So the plan is to ward off these attacks. The less attacks, the less disability. So most of the research and what they call their disease modifying drugs, all the drugs and research mostly go to patients with this relapsing remitting MS. So they really do a lot in that area. So I'm kind of lucky to have that kind of MS. So MS, it's a debilitating autoimmune disease of the central nervous system. Now, the central nervous system, if you don't know, is the brain, the C-spine, and the spinal cord. So my immune system, for whatever reason, attacks this protective covering over the nerves and nerve fibers. We're going to call that coating myelin. This causes interference with the messages to and from your brain and the rest of your body. So what I think of it as is just a power cord, you know, the plastic coating over the wires. That's the myelin covering the nerves. So if you scrape away that plastic coating or cut into it or what have you, you won't get full power. You might get interfered with power. You might not get any power at all. So that's more or less what an MS attack does, is it eats this plastic covering over my wires. So like I say, so the messages don't flow properly. So some of these messages could be as simple as, let's see, when you put your hand on a hot stove, the messages from your fingertips go up to your brain saying, that's hot. Goes all the way back to your fingertips and says, get your hand off the stove, right? And that all happens in, I don't even know, not even a second. Well, I've had it where I've put my hand on a hot stove and my hand starts smoking. The messages just aren't getting through. So I'm not feeling the heat. It's horrible. And it's hard to wrap your head around that because I can't move my arm out to reach that coffee. I'm telling my arm to reach that coffee, but it won't go. And it's nothing to do with my arm. It's actually due to some myelin being disturbed in my brain that it's affecting my left arm. 18 years later, and I still don't get it. So, anyways, I varied a bit. So, what can I say? Okay, so like I said, it's a horrible disease. I want to make it clear, though, that the doctors say, and I truly believe, that there's no relationship between acromegaly and MS. I just have a lot going on up in this area, but they're two different systems. That's the central nervous system and the endocrine system. None of the doctors seem to know anybody, the ones I've spoken to in Vancouver, they don't know anybody with MS and acromegaly. I'm sure there probably is. Maybe. Not very many, but acromegaly being so rare, obviously. But MS, 1 in 385, that's a lot of people. Anyways, okay, so like I say, ever since this MS diagnosis in 2000, I've been really healthy with this disease. I've only suffered a handful of these relapses in 18 years. Normally, a person with a remitting, relapsing MS would probably have an attack. I mean, everybody's so different, it's hard to say, but I would say probably once a year. That's an average. At one point, I think I went 7 years without a relapse. I mean, maybe I just got a great MS, or maybe I think I can control it, or I don't know. But anyways, I've tried to be healthy. I know stress really, really can trigger a relapse. Once I was planning a person's birthday party. It wasn't even a big birthday party like a 50 or a 60. It was just a birthday party. And even though it was kind of happy stress, I had a relapse. Just that stress is what triggers me. So like I say, I went to support groups and they discussed, not always alternative therapies, but things like little things like massage and meditation, some moxibustion. Does anybody know what moxibustion is? It's really, it sounds fancy. It's an ancient Chinese herb, moxie, and moxibustion is like a heat therapy. They've rolled this, a weed, this moxie, and it burns hot. They can roll it into like a cigarette kind of tube, and I guess it burns really hot, so they wave it over. Say you have a sore elbow, they'll wave it over, like a cigarette waving over, but it's this moxie. What they do with MS, because it's our brain, they actually put, it's gonna sound funny, I have a plate on my head with a little candle, and then I put the moxie on the candle, and it just smolders. And it's supposed to put all your cheese in order, and it sounds silly. It's inexpensive. It doesn't hurt anybody. Whenever I don't feel good, I do it, and you know what? I feel amazingly better. It sounds funny, but these are just some of these little therapies we've learned. I have to admit, I would use the odd marijuana product, but that helped my body relax. I didn't have spasms at night if my body relaxed. I ate a cookie before I went to bed. Didn't harm anybody. And it made me feel good. So like I say, I was healthy with MS. Okay, it's about time we got off MS, I think. In 2012 and 2013, I was getting a relapse every year for those 2 years, and I was what wasn't the norm. Like I said, I'd done 7 years before without a relapse. I was worried. My neurologist, who I loved, was worried, so he said, let's get you in that MRI. I hadn't had one in maybe 2 years, so I had a lot, but let's get you in there and see what happened. So in February of 2014, I went into UBC for my MRI of my brain and my C-spine, right, the neck spine. I guess I always wondered why they don't do my spinal cord, and I'm assuming that they know from my symptoms where the plaques or the marks are in my brain. I've always wondered why they don't do my spinal cord anymore. But anyways, so I went in for the MRI. I went to see the neurologist in April 2014. This appointment was much different than those in the past. Me and him had a very easygoing relationship. Because my MS, didn't need a lot of attention, we actually spent a lot of time in his office visiting, talking about his children, his wife, things like that, just because we didn't have a lot of MS things to talk about. So, anyways, he came down the hallway and picked me up at reception, which was also different. He used to be down the hallway and just yell my name out down the hallway and make me come on down. But anyways, he came and got me in reception, and we walked back to his office. We didn't even discuss MS. He said the MRI picked up, by complete fluke, a tumor on my pituitary gland when it went from the brain to the C-spine. I can't even tell you how I felt. I was stunned. It was that feeling, when you're in there and your heart's pumping so hard that you can't hear anything. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. Anyways, I remember words in the background to the effect of, it's not cancerous, you'll go to doctors, blah, 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 all this stuff. Anyways, it took me a couple moments before I could get myself together. And I asked him to repeat everything. So anyways, he told me that it was a tumor, that it was completely, because it wasn't a designated pituitary tumor, MRI or whatever, they only got a little picture of it. They didn't know how big it is, how long it'd been there. They didn't know anything about it, but they knew it was a pituitary gland tumor. I then started to get angry, thinking about it wouldn't surprise me if I had had 10 MRIs by that time. And they're always of my brain. Why wasn't this picked up before? Now I'm mad. I'm leaving for Mexico in 2 days, and I just don't have time for this, I remember telling him. So anyways, I was mad. So what he said to me was, I guess when they do, he himself doesn't believe the pituitary is in the brain. He believes the pituitary is connected to the brain by the hypothalamus, I believe. So it connects to the central nervous system, connects with the endocrine system. So he doesn't really believe that the brain is in the pituitary. So he told me with all these brain scans, it would have never shown up because it's a designated brain scan. And we know when you go for an MRI, you're going for a designated pituitary gland scan. So I guess in there, it doesn't matter if it's in the brain or not, I've decided, because I've looked up a lot. I couldn't understand. So many things say it is in the brain. But yeah, my brain doctor says it's not in the brain. So, but I've realized it doesn't matter where it is. It's just there. So, At the end of it was a whirlwind. At the end of the appointment, he said, let me ask you some questions. And he asked me the oddest questions I'd ever heard. Did my face change? Did my hands or feet grow? Did I have headaches, pains in my wrists, sleep apnea, sweating? And I thought, holy crap, what kind of disease is that? And I'm thinking, absolutely not did that happen. But I took a moment. And sadly, I ended up actually saying yes to most of those questions. My feet had grown in the last 10 years, not big, but from size 6 to 7. But that's no biggie, I thought. That's just age and weight. My facial features changed, but again, I thought age and weight. I was experiencing dull headaches, but I really only felt them when it was really quiet and I was relaxing and I'd lay my head down and all of a sudden this thump, thump, thump. And to be honest, I would probably eat a marijuana cookie and I would just go to bed. The symptoms I was experiencing really didn't interfere with my life, except the sweating. I was this close to going to the doctor. I hadn't gone to the doctor about anything, but I was that close to going to the doctor about the sweating. It was insane. It wouldn't stop. A girlfriend of mine actually is a sweating person too, and she was getting Botox injections, and I don't know how long it worked for. I think it might have even been years. And I was actually considering that. Could you imagine, like if I was, who knows what I would have got treated if they hadn't found this tumor? I don't know what my journey would have been. I guess I'm kind of happy to have the journey I'm on. Still not happy with the disease though. But anyways, so I did end up saying yes to a lot of these answers. And I thought to myself, I have that disease that he's talking about. I didn't even know its name. It was just, I heard something funny. So I could tell from like I said, I could tell from my answers that I more than likely had this disease. He told me he would have to send me off to a team of doctors, a neurosurgeon, an ophthalmologist, and an endo, and they would all do their jobs. So within a month, I think I saw the endocrinologist. He requested lots and lots of blood, drink the sugar and have more blood drawn test, and I had a designated MRI for the pituitary. In May 2014, the endocrinologist diagnosed me with acromegaly but I already suspected that. I was then put on Sandostatin injections monthly. I saw the ophthalmologist, which was great that I had actually known him for 14 years. I saw him yearly at the MS clinic. MS can attack the optic nerve, as you can imagine. And so you see an ophthalmologist as part of your fall. Every year you see one they check to see if you have MS in your eyes. I've never had, knock on wood. But so I saw him for the peripheral vision test. And he noticed that I had the tumor was affecting that vision. I saw the neurosurgeon, and he said, he's not as funny, this guy, but he said the tumor must be taken out. He said he did tell me, though, he didn't think they could remove it all, but he would try his best. I was unsure now. Why do surgery if you can't get it all? This will mean I will still have acromegaly? And he said, yeah, you will, but you'll be medicated. It'll be okay. He told me to sign the release. I didn't want to sign the release. He looked at me like I had 4 heads. He was like, no. He calmly sat me down and more or less told me I would go blind without surgery. He won. So the tumor was actually the size of a jelly bean, and it actually looked like one on the scan. It was kind of cute. But anyways, and between him and my endocrinologist, they figured I had had the tumor for 20 plus years. Surgery was scheduled for September 9th, 2014 at VGH. I told myself I would deal with my acromegaly diagnosis the same way I did my MS diagnosis. After all, I had experienced MS for years and life wasn't horrible. It wasn't all doom and gloom. I felt healthy. Why wouldn't this disease be the same? I have to say this disease is nothing like the same. MS actually is my favorite disease out of the two. So, I had surgery in September 2014. Unfortunately, the surgeon was correct and he couldn't remove the tumor. I believe I was in the hospital for 4 or 5 days. I was told when I left the hospital, which I didn't know, that, because I asked him, well, there was little remnants, and I knew a little bit that people had radiation to get those remnants, a little bit of the tumor left. And he said, I was told that because of my MS, I'm not eligible for radiation. I'm not exactly sure why, but it seemed to be because it would confuse my immune system, and which would make me have a relapse. I don't really know, but I've been told now by both the surgeon and the endocrinologist that I just can't have radiation. Don't know if I would have chosen it, but it kind of just takes away an option, you know? So over this next 6 months, I recovered with blood tests and scans and doctors. I felt great. People were absolutely amazed by my bright eyes and looks. Everybody commented on them. They all thought I lost weight, which I hadn't. And actually, a couple people had asked if I had plastic surgery on my eyes. What a difference surgery made. I was still on monthly injections of sandostatin. In March of 2015, 6 months post-surgery, the surgeon said while remnants of tumor remain, he does not believe it will grow back because I will be treated with medication. Endocrinologists discussed adding another drug, Sumivert, as my IGF was slightly higher than it should be. I went home and I would consider this. Of course, I didn't want to. I just didn't. I didn't want to do injections myself. I didn't want to take another it was pretty foolish actually, but I just didn't want to. So over the next year, I would say, so early 2016, the year from when the endocrinologist suggested I add Sumivert to the sandostatin, I was actually having an MS relapse. So I was sitting at home, feeling sorry for myself. One of my best friends was given only about 6 months to live. And he had just finished telling me that he would do anything to live. I decided at that moment I would maybe give Sumivert a try. So in March 2016, I was on Sumivert. I started off at 3 times a week, even though the medication is, I've learned, is made for daily use, and the research from it and everything it's supposed to be taken every day. But because my IGF was just a little over the range, the doctor suggested 3 times a week. And I think my numbers stayed down for possibly a year without medication. It was great, and the freedom of 3 times a week was wonderful. You could, for 2 days, you can say, I just don't feel like it. And it was just great. But then my numbers started to increase. The doctor said, hey, want to do 4 times a week? I'm like, sure. Very open to these things now. Let's try 4 times a week. Let's try 4 times a week. So that one didn't last very long. I think after 3 months, my numbers went down. 3 months later, they were starting to climb again. So in the spring of 2018, I now do 6 times a week. I just won't go for that 7. I need that extra day. But anyway, so as of the spring, early spring, 6 times a week. The 3-month mark in July, numbers went way down, but still not in range. But that's only 3 months after. I just had my IGF levels tested last week, and now it's been 6 months. And again, my IGF lowered by 20 points. But sadly, it's 7 points out of range. I feel pretty good about it. I know, because you just want to be in range, you know. But 7 points is 7 points. Anyways, so when I'm seeing my endocrinologist next week to discuss I got these numbers off online, obviously. So I don't know if, I'm thinking we might not do anything. I just really don't know. One thing she told me last week that I found not last week, in our July appointment, that I found interesting is because of the age I am, because of the age I am, when your estrogen level decreases, your growth hormone actually increases. And I have never been told that. Mind you, I've never been 53 before either and having hot flashes. But anyways, so she said, you know, she talked about the hormone replacement therapy. And when I think of that, I think of all those horror stories years ago and all the women with the cancer. And I mean, things have come a long way. They used to put people on high doses, or women, high doses of estrogen, and they would leave them on it from like their 60s till they're 80. And now they know they do low doses, and very low doses, 5 years, and they like to do it when you're still in your 50s. And she said, once I start taking these, the hot flashes will be gone probably within a day. No, really. So, and if it gives me those extra points, I'm really thinking, look at that. Look at me on more prescriptions. But I'm really thinking, I mean, that's what I'm going to discuss with her. I found it very interesting. It all kind of makes sense. So I think I'll like that idea, but I'm not sure. Anyways, I guess that leads us up to today. And I imagine my journey will continue. And maybe, I do have a couple pictures as I'm looking at myself. I do have a couple pictures. Maybe before we look at the pictures, do you want me to finish? Does anybody have any questions now? No. Okay, pictures. Do I just right?
Just click on it.
Okay.
So right click.
Just let us know, like,
I'm going to let you know.
how old you
I'm going to do that. I've got notes. I've got notes on everything. Maybe not. There they are. Okay. This is me when I was 17 or 18. This is my grad picture, high school grad picture, and this is in 83. So I think that's just me, and I still see me. But that's what, I mean, a little pointer and everything. I think my nose is very thin. I have a little nose. I still think I have a little nose, just not as small as that. But anyways, I have this pointy little chin and everything. Okay, so do I right click, left click?
Right, yeah.
Right. No. There's me. Okay, this was in 98. Okay, so 83, 98. I was 33. My mom makes me and my family do family Christmas pictures every year since before my sister came. I'm the oldest. So for 53 years. And we fight and we argue and we throw it. It's horrible every year, especially in the olden days when you had to actually take 14 pictures and run and get them developed, put them in front of us and let all of us decide on which one we like. Well, I don't like me, I don't like, oh, it was hell.
That's a good thing.
It is fabulous.
It's going to help with changing history, with the changes of your facial features every year.
Because I have it every year because my mom made us do Christmas pictures. The endocrinologist went through them and immediately picked it out. Yes, we are, sadly. Mom, we always do it right around, she sends it them as Christmas cards. So November is usually a really bad month for us. It's just horrible, we hate it. Anyway, so this is me in 33. In 1998, I was 33. This is when the endo, and my mom even thinks, this is when my face started to change. I don't know. It's hard to see.
I think the last picture back, you already had it. Yeah, absolutely.
In 83.
Yeah,
How do I go back?
just by your chin.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just gonna click on it and go previous.
Oh, aren't you smarty pants?
Oh.
You think, okay, I'm not gonna go back anymore. Thank you. She is wonderful through this whole thing. You did, well, I probably did because if they think yeah, I'll look at baby pictures here later. Let's see. I don't have them. Okay. So this is, I'm just trying, so this is 2010. I'm 45. I just think my whole face is bigger.
It's longer.
It's longer. Yes, I had a night. Yes, it's longer. My friend who did this kind of, well, it's just weight and age. But okay, so we're going to skip right through to just before surgery. So this is as bad as it gets. Almost 2000. Oh, no, I'm not lying. I'm lying. This is 2010.
So there you can see where it's soft tissue.
But you can see I'm just totally, like here, I do wear glasses, so it's hard. I do wear bangs a lot, so you might not see the brow. But look at my nose, like it's not, I see it totally. I don't know if you can, because you're not. And I'm always November. I tend to go to Mexico a lot in November, so I'm always tanned in all these Christmas pictures. Just so you know. Why is she so dark? Okay, so the next one is the summer of 2013, I think. That's how bad it is. Can you believe? That's not a Christmas picture. That's a summer picture, but that was in, I don't know of what month, but it was just before surgery. Like I'm looking, I mean, my mouth's open and stuff, but look at this.
2013 or 2014?
This is 2 months before, November of 2014.
Okay. You can kind of see right here too. In
Yeah.
between the eyebrows, right?
I guess, yeah. And this is me after surgery.
Where?
Sorry,
Where?
we had to do my whole Christmas picture because of this horrible orange curtain. We tried. So this is my family. So that is almost 1 year post-surgery. And
Who's the young girl down below there?
Deanna, this is my niece,
Her name is?
Deanna.
Oh, okay.
Is that why you asked? Because this is,
Oh, I see. No, I just-
and the next picture is Deanna. I keep Deanna in my pictures because she's so pretty. This is her grad. This is actually May of 2015, 1 year post-surgery. I still see the acromegaly, the puffiness.
Not as much though.
Not as much. I think there was a change. I just feel, yeah. It makes me sad to think. But anyways, I'm going to try the last one. I'm not very good at these pictures. I apologize. This is I just picked.
There you go.
99 and 2017. So it's 2017. I did, use that as my Christmas picture because I didn't want to be with the rest of my family. So I got my own. We got a Christmas picture that had like 3 circles, and we all put our things in
But
there.
in the pictures there, you can see how your face has gone longer.
Yep.
But you can see, if you look at your shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
how, like, the bones have gone broader, right?
I think they've got broader too. So that's a good,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm younger and, but I mean, and I can see me in there, but I just think these two pictures look totally different. And I want, that we always blame things on age and weight. Anyways, so, how do I go done? Oh, I'm done. Okay. So, we're going to continue with the Terri show. Okay. With time? All right. Oh, okay. This is going to be a lot quicker. No one had any questions about my journey, anything like that?
Well, how do you feel on a day-to-day basis now with some of our everything? You feel good?
Yes. Now,
Feedback or?
I didn't notice a lot of difference when, when you see on the websites, the people, you see them just before they're getting their medication, even if it's the monthly one, the Sandoz, before they're just wrecked. And then when you see them again afterwards, they're all like, I don't really.
This one, the Canada one?
Pardon?
The Canada site?
Somervert CA, yeah.
The Canada site? Yes.
CA stands for Canada.
Which one, Terri?
Here?
Which one?
Somervert CA, yeah, should be that one. Yep.
Okay, which one? Here.
Not login, DIN number.
Okay. With this one?
Yeah, over there, you have to be a physician for that one.
Okay.
Woohoo. All right. I am going to, unfortunately, a representative for the Somervert support program isn't able to attend to speak to us. So I'm just going to provide you with my experience with the program in the last 2.5 years. Okay, so like I said, from my journey, in February of 2016, I decided to get the ball rolling regarding Somervert. So I didn't do the normal route, like go through the doctor. I just called them. I spoke with a fabulous financial person who provided my I provided my endocrinologist's name and the contact info. I also provided them with the name and contact info on my insurance company. She told me that they would send me some authorizations to sign and that they would deal directly with the doctors and the insurance company. However, my main concern was the cost. I had already received a quote from the pharmacy and it was going to cost thousands of dollars. So yep. Oh. I'm going to continue. So my problem was the cost. Even my there I am. Even the 20% I couldn't afford. So the financial person told me that if I would email her my last year's notice of assessment to show her that I was poor, that Pfizer would just take care of that 20% for me. So I found that the paperwork easy. It was just authorization so they could speak to the powers that be, and everything was done. It took off right away. Once I was accepted, I got a call from a pharmacy chosen by the program. They wanted a day and a convenient time in which they would deliver to my door the medications and supplies. I got everything from cotton balls, antiseptic wipes, the needles, syringes, containers. I even got ice packs and these nice little packages for if you were traveling with your medication. There was a lot of stuff. So shortly thereafter, after getting the medicine, a nurse called me from the program and to set up a time for her to come to my house and actually show me how to inject myself and to mix the medicine. This nurse was great. She gave me her cell number if I needed to call her and said she would return if needed. This lesson took maybe 30 minutes of my time, no big deal. So I started injecting. Approximately 2 weeks later, a nurse from the program in Montreal called to ask how things were. Did I have any questions? Did I receive enough supplies? Things like that. I receive a call from the pharmacy every 4 weeks and get a time frame, usually a 3-hour window, on a certain day, and they'll deliver me the more meds and supplies and anything I want right to my door. And you wouldn't want them to deliver any more than that because you probably wouldn't have the fridge room. I actually have to grocery shop accordingly. When it gets time to my delivery, I make sure at least my bottom shelf can be emptied, and you just don't go grocery shopping before 28 boxes of medicine show up.
Another thing you can do is buy one of those little small house sizes.
That would be a great idea. Like if you had a family, I'm a single person, so my fridge is my fridge and it's okay. But if I had a family, you'd want to purchase another fridge.
No, just the little mini ones, you know?
Yeah, like a mini cube or something. Bar fridge. Yes. So, anyways, all right. Where am I? So, and I'm lucky enough to this pharmacy. The pharmacy is actually in Burnaby. I can actually attend there. Not that you'd want to, I guess. I did once. I couldn't get rid of my Sharps container because the Sharps container they give you is like really big. I have to put it in my closet. It scares people. But I mean, it's a year's worth of needles fills it like that, and my local Safeways and stuff just won't take that. So I actually had to attend at the pharmacy to give them the full one to get another one. So I mean, I think it was, I've been there once in 2.5 years. It's not that bad, but it's a weird place. You have to buzz to get in. It's in a commercial area. It's not like a normal everyday walk-in kind of pharmacy. So anyways, one thing about the program I have to say is the nurse case manager. Oh my God, he's the best. There was a time when some of it changed. See, you have to mix this drug. It comes with a diluent and a powder. You mix it and then you inject. Well, I don't even know how long ago. A year and a half ago, they tried to simplify it a little bit. It comes with a pre-filled diluent. So you use, anyways, they changed a little bit of the mixing. And they had phoned me up and told me that they were going to change. And they sent me to the website to watch how the new one was going to be done. And I did all that, and that was fine. Until, of course, the medicine showed up at the door in a different way that I was used to. And I flipped out. I'm like, how do I get this in me? I was so upset. So I phoned my nurse case manager. They're available in Montreal from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. their time, which for people out here, those are great hours. That means if we do, as long as we get to them before 5 p.m. our time, we can still talk to a nurse. That's, I mean, it's better than cutting off at 2:30. I get a hold of them by 2:30. Their hours are fabulous. So anyways, I got a hold of my nurse, Raj, and I'm crying and upset with change. And he walked me through it, this guy. I give him kudos to him. Like, he walked me through my crying, freaking out, and I was able to inject the new medicine. Turned out in the end, it was easier to do, their way, of course, but it was just the shock of it all. So, anyways, okay. He actually phoned me. I didn't think I'd ever hear from him again, but he actually phoned me the next week, see how I was doing. So I also have this other thing. I don't like putting a needle through the stopper, drawing things out, and then putting that same needle into my body. I know, even doctors, you're getting local freezing. It goes through the stopper and then through you. Diabetics, I know it goes through the stopper, but I don't like that. I want a fresh needle every time. And the program has absolutely no problem. You want extra needles? Here you go. Whatever you need to make you feel comfortable and make this process easier. So it's really lovely that way. So in a nutshell, I have to say, they provide financial assistance, they deliver all the meds and supplies. even supplies for traveling to your home. They have a nurse attend your home for training. There's telephone support with a nurse you can talk to from 8 to 8. If you choose Summervert as the drug you're going to be going on, you're totally going to appreciate the patient support program. They're really there for you. So, now I get to finish off with something fun. In the fall of 2017, I was contacted about a patient support video for Summervert. They were going to talk to me. I was going to tell them my experiences. They were going to prepare a script, and they were actually going to fly me out to Montreal for a couple days to complete a video. I appreciated the fact that they were actually using real acromegaly sufferers and their stories, and they did, as you will see, but they actually took my story. So I traveled out to Montreal in February of 2018. Yes, Vancouver girl in Montreal in February. It was crazy, but I liked it. Anyways, I loved meeting the other couple. I met them for dinner. The two other people, one had done a kitchen scene, the other did a library scene, and they filmed together or at the same time, so they got to know each other that day, because they just rented a condo by the sounds of it for them. I was going to be filmed the next day. I had the whole day. It was funny because they picked my place to be a cafe, because when they were talking to me on the phone, they asked me, well, what do you like doing? And I'm, kind of on the spot. I'm like, well, I like meeting friends for coffee. So they put me in a cafe. And I also I love going and seeing my best friend, Charlene, over on Campbell River, and I take the ferry over to the island. I love going over there. So they thought it would be great to put me along the St. Lawrence River. Sometimes there's a ferry there. However, it was frozen, solid, so no ferry. But anyway, so when you see the video, when you see me in the winterness, I am freezing. It was fun though. One funny story, I asked for a dog to be walked with because I felt odd just walking down, right? I asked for a dog and they actually told me it was too cold for a dog. So again, me. So anyways, okay, so let's watch the video that me and 3 other acromegaly people put together. It'll take 3 minutes, I believe, from start to finish. Huh?
We're doing yours?
We're doing all 3. Yeah, you just say, tell their stories. Whoa.
Maybe, so the audio might come through the projector, and if it does, let's take your microphone, put it down by the speaker on the phone, so they can actually hear it.
All right.
Because the audio has to get.
Okay. You go tell their stories or hear their stories.
Well, I got it as you said.
That's just,
Do you want me to go back to the first one?
no,
No, it's just, I think it's all.
it's just farther down. Yeah.
Or it just keeps going through all of them?
There's 2 other, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. Tell me if you need me to do something with the mic. That's Tammy.
We need volume.
Yeah, so it's
I've
down on the
always been
speaker.
healthy and active, so I was surprised when I was diagnosed with acromegaly. This was over 3 years ago.
Is it there or here?
Just take the mic off.
I didn't even know what acromegaly was, but the signs and symptoms definitely existed.
Let's just play it again.
Of course, being diagnosed with acromegaly was overwhelming. But thankfully, I had and still have a support system that I can truly rely on. Getting started with Somavert was a lot easier than I expected, thanks to the Somavert support program. They took care of a lot of the financial aspects of getting my medication.
Sorry, everybody. I gotta go back and replay. I have to go back and replay, yeah.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I've always been healthy and active, so I was surprised when I was diagnosed with acromegaly. This was over 3 years ago. I didn't even know what acromegaly was, but the signs and symptoms definitely added up. Of course, being diagnosed with acromegaly was overwhelming, but thankfully I had and still have a support system that I can truly rely on. Getting started with Somavert was a lot easier than I expected thanks to the Somavert support program. They took care of a lot of the financial aspects of getting my medication. I didn't even have to call my insurance. The program took a huge weight off my shoulders. And the injection training was very useful. A nurse came to my home to show me and my husband how to use Somavert properly, and then even offered to come back for further training if I needed it. Their support is ongoing. Not only are they just a phone call away, but they literally bring my medication straight to my door and provide me with things I need for my injections, like syringes and alcohol swabs. It's just so easy to forget to pick these things up. The Somavert support program saves me a lot of time and energy.
Hi, my name's John, and I was diagnosed with acromegaly a little over 16 years ago. Being diagnosed with acromegaly was hard, and I often felt that I was in this alone. I had no idea what it was. I spent, and I still spend, a lot of time reading and learning about my condition, and that really helps me cope. Connecting with people with similar conditions also really helped and offered me some hope. It just goes to show how important support really is. Of course, my wife's been my constant source of support. She's my rock since the beginning. I started Somavert in 2013. And with Somavert, you get access to the Somavert support program. You can tell that the people working within the program really care about you. They take the time to call every once in a while to check to see how you're doing, on top of all the other services they have to offer. It's nice to know that the program will be there for you when you really need it.
My name is Terri, and I was diagnosed with acromegaly in the spring of 2014. My nurse put me in touch with a support group a little over a year after I was first diagnosed, since it really helps to talk to people who are in similar situations. My favorite part of the program is definitely my nurse case manager. He's wonderful and considerate and extremely knowledgeable. I know I can call him about anything, like how I'm feeling, if I have questions about my medication or the program. He's someone I can truly rely on. Oh, and the financial assistance, very helpful. They really took the time to understand my financial situation and what we can do. Fortunately, I was eligible for copay assistance, which was a relief. The reimbursement specialist made a real difference for me. The services that the Somavert support program offers, like financial assistance, allows me to focus on more important things in life, like friends and family.